Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Danielle. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Women's Sports Weekly Pod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at womensportsweeklypod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on the Les, which is our listeners' experience zone.
It is the holiday time.
It is. December always has like a lure over me. Is that the right word?
Allure? Like December lore?
I don't know. I like December. It's just,
Or like a hold on you?
yeah, maybe that. It's like, I don't know.
A trance? It puts you in a trance?
Kind of. Maybe it's the Christmas lights that do it, or all the cookies, or the alcohol. I don't know.
Yeah.
All the things. I just feel like everything comes at once, and it's hard to say no to anything.
Yeah, we are very busy this time of year.
Yeah. But it's also a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. We had a busy weekend, and I said to you, it's just the season for it, and I enjoy that because I can very much be a homebody when I want to be, but it's nice to just say yes to things, show up, and just enjoy people's company during this time of year.
Over the weekend, we had dinner with friends on Friday night, and then Saturday night was your company's Christmas party.
Yeah.
And it was at the Denver Botanic Gardens, which is just beautiful.
It was a great venue. It's been my favorite venue to date for a holiday party for work.
I agree. It was really cool to walk around, and we looked so nice. We got all dressed up. I was in red and you were in green. It was very cute.
Yeah, I was a little worried about my dress leading into the party. As you know, all week I was like, should I, shouldn't I? You said people were going to ask me about Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. I said I was scared I looked like Fiona from Shrek. But looking back at the picture, I was like, okay, we looked good.
We did look good. I wore a burgundy power suit.
Yeah, you looked great. I love the power suit. It was fire on you.
I wanted to wear a suit to our wedding, but I like feminine cut suits. So it would have been very difficult to do, but I like to rent clothes. I talked about last week how I really love Nuuly, and I found this suit and it was cut well. And I was like, we're doing it. We're wearing a suit.
It looked great.
And you look great too.
Thank you.
You didn't look like Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. Although I think that would be a compliment. And also I think Princess Fiona is a compliment. So
I don't know.
Even Princess Fiona Shrekified to me is cute.
Not the look I was going for.
Okay. Well, you looked great. You didn't look like either of those people. You just looked like hot you.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Another big update for the weekend.
Christmas miracle, y'all.
Seriously. Now, there's still some finishing touches we'll have to do when it comes to like insulating and all the things. And we have a lot more things to do in the basement. But our framing, we've done it.
We've done it.
We finished framing our basement and we are pumped about it.
Very. We have 2 of 6 things that we need to get done down there. So we did all the demo and now we've done the framing. We've got a lot more to do, but it just feels like, wow, that was a lot and it's done. You could see that it's starting to look like 2 separate rooms. It's just amazing.
It's really exciting. I have the vision now. I could see what it's going to look like and it's getting exciting.
It is. This past weekend, we just put our heads down and went to work, and it really wasn't as frustrating as previous weekends. So we are getting better at it just in time to hopefully never do it again.
Exactly. That's usually how it goes.
Also, we received such great positive feedback on episode 100. So many of you reached out to us. We now have to do a 100-meter race.
Oh, it's happening over the holidays. So to our listeners, Carolyn's mom lives right next to a high school track, and we will be going back to New Jersey for the holidays. And I said to you, we're finding a day. We're going to have your sister and Matt, our brother-in-law, film and be the judge or ref, I don't know, of this 100 meters because
we're worried it's going to be a photo finish.
There were a lot of people who voted for you, and my betrayal list has gotten longer.
I know. You were very surprised by that. And a lot of those people are on our softball team, so they've seen us run before.
Oh, I'm ready to show everyone up. Just wait.
But I haven't ran in a really long time. Not like that.
I hear the excuses. Here they come.
Okay, so when I used to do CrossFit, we would run quite a bit and we would sprint quite a bit. I haven't been doing CrossFit. I've only been lifting. So I'm worried I'm not going to have that same pop.
You weren't too worried when you were saying last week that you would fight on this, that you were going to win.
Okay, I'm going to win.
I started putting more strides in my runs, and I'm going to start bringing back speed work this week just for this.
That's so sick. You're so sick. We also missed a couple of questions last week, which is totally my fault.
I would say it's both our faults.
I missed them and I had them written down and I just forgot to transfer them into the right document. So I want to go through them really quickly. One of our listeners asked for all of our favorite teams within leagues, but we skipped volleyball. So we have Major League Volleyball and League One Volleyball, which admittedly maybe we subconsciously skip because we don't watch a lot of it. Mm-hmm. So if you're asking for favorite teams, I'm going based off of names only. So for Major League Volleyball, it's the San Diego Mojo, which we've talked about on this podcast before.
Yeah, we have.
And for League One Volleyball, it's Madison. They're city-based and based purely just on that I really want to go to Madison, Wisconsin.
I know. We were literally talking about that over the weekend.
Ah, man. Do you have favorite teams, Danielle?
I'm going to go with San Diego because San Diego is a great spot. And Madison, we've talked about the Wisconsin Cheeseheads and they do really well and are doing really well in the college realm. So they'll probably have a great professional team too. Oh. But we have to do a better job at watching professional volleyball.
I was going to say, who's your second favorite team?
Carolyn.
We'll get on it. We're going to talk about volleyball today, so don't you worry. Okay, the other question, which I really liked, was, would you rather win gold in your least favorite sport or lose in your favorite sport but still be at the Olympics?
I personally would want to be playing my favorite sport at the Olympics, even if I lost.
Why?
Because my favorite sport is basketball. I think about all the memories I've had with my basketball teams in the past. And I think win or lose, like, those are your people. And that's just how I view it. Like, to me, that's more important than winning the gold. Obviously, winning a gold, that's the goal. But I'd want to be playing my favorite sport at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I struggle with this. So for me, I'm like gold or bust, baby, because I don't really have a least favorite sport. What sport do I hate? There's really not any.
But not necessarily that you hate, but maybe something you've never even played. I don't know.
Like golf or archery. Like, it would be so cool to win gold in one of those sports, even though I've never played it before or don't know anything about it. And I totally see your point of just being an Olympian is very cool. So I have two schools of thought. There's one that's just like win gold. That's would be cool. If I had the choice between the two, I'm just choosing winning gold. And then the other one's, if I lose early and I'm still in Olympic Village, I'm just going to hang out.
Yeah.
Go watch other people. A lot less pressure when you lose early and still get to call yourself an Olympian. So my initial reaction was just like gold. And now I'm like, well, it could be fun just to be there. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I just think about my favorite sport and I'd want to be playing that versus I don't know what my least favorite sport is, but that's just where my head goes.
And no matter what, like I'm thinking to myself like, oh, if it was just a single person sport, but you have a team around you always. So you're still winning with a team. I guess I would hate a sport if people were really mean to me or the fans were really mean. Like that I wouldn't want. Right?
Yeah.
If I joined a sport and everyone was like a bigot and a homophobe, yeah, that wouldn't go over really well. I definitely just choose being on a nice team.
Yeah.
All right. So those were the questions we missed. We just wanted to make sure we hit everything. Let's get into the highlight reel for this week.
Yes. So we weren't lying when we said we talk about volleyball because this past weekend, the Elite Eight matches took place. We're going to speak about one of those matches, Nebraska versus Texas A&M. Now, Nebraska was the overall number one seed going into this match. It's amazing that this wasn't the national championship. Nebraska also went into this match undefeated, 33-0, and Texas A&M was able to pull this off. As a reminder to our listeners, volleyball is played best of 5. Texas A&M went up 2-0 to start, and we were
2 sets to 0.
Oh boy. This was the first time Nebraska was down 0-2 since August 30th to Kentucky, I believe.
And they ended up winning that match.
Yeah. So they're down 0-2, and this is at Nebraska's home court. It was packed. Sea of red. But the Texas A&M fans were loud. I said they were small but mighty. They had a section and they were rowdy as well, but it was packed with Cornhuskers and some corn on the cob I saw.
Literally people wearing shirt that just had like kernels of corn on it.
Classic.
Let's go right into the fourth set. Texas A&M went up 2-0. Nebraska won the third set. We get to the fourth set. They played to 25 in the fourth set, but you need to win by 2. Texas had 3 chances to end this match in the fourth set. Nebraska had more to clinch, but the adrenaline was pumping on both sides. There were multiple times where either team could take the set and they just sailed the ball out of bounds on their serve.
Lots of nerves.
There were a lot of nerves, but Nebraska ends up winning this fourth set 37-35. So kept going back and forth after 25, could not win by 2 and take it to the fifth set. Now the fifth set is only 2-15. Texas A&M got an early lead, but then I really thought Nebraska had the momentum towards the end of the match. But Texas A&M found a way to hit 15 first, and they win this match at Nebraska. Nebraska's 33-0. They make them 33-1 and send them home to advance to the Final Four. Really amazing. This is Texas A&M's first time to the semifinals ever. Just huge for them.
And there's players on both sides of the court who had incredible games and so many kills. The thing that amazes me the most is when 2 players go up for a block at the same time and they're able to block a spike. But one of the players that impressed me the most was Logan Lednicki. She is a player for Texas A&M, and she is incredible. I just feel like she was dominating, and it was too much for Nebraska to handle, honestly.
Volleyball also, to me, is just, we've talked about it on the podcast before, but I love it because it's very easy to understand. 3 chances to get it over the net. And then all of these women are so tall and then just spike a ball down your throat and just make you look silly. And I just love watching it. It's just such an easy sport to get into.
You say easy to get into. Let's not make people think we think it's easy to play.
No, it's not easy to play at all. They're jumping like 45 feet up in the air and both their hands are over the net. And I don't know how they're doing any of it. The blocking, like you said, is just so amazing. And I think that's why Texas A&M won, because they were so good at blocking. And I said it has to be so defeating to go up there and spike the ball as hard as you can. And then someone's arms are just there and they're like, nope, we're going to get it in right on your side.
Yeah. So really fun. The Elite Eight did take place this past weekend, like we said. And the Final Four is set at this point.
The Final Four is Pittsburgh, Kentucky, Wisconsin, and Texas A&M.
I'm excited to watch. Yeah, there's going to be some good matches up ahead.
All right, let's get into the WNBA. What is happening with the WNBA CBA?
Once again, they couldn't get the deal done in the time frame, so another extension was granted, and we just continue to see updates come through with this extension and what it means and what are they negotiating.
So this new extension occurred on November 30th, and now they have a new deadline of January 9th. So I'm wondering if we're going to hear more news this week, like maybe even more news before this episode comes out, because next week is Christmas. So there's not really much you can do. I don't think they're going to be meeting a lot. So I'm curious to see if we're going to hear more this week or if they're just going to push till after the holidays. But they do have an extension until January 9th. The extension allows the off season to proceed. They can still do things within their off season. They can get into the gym if they want to work out, but the expansion draft is supposed to happen in December, and the free agency usually begins in January, and we don't anticipate that those things will happen until the CBA is negotiated. Definitely not free agency, because people want to know what teams can offer them before they sign on.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get into the most recent offer from the WNBA. So the last offer was $220,000 as a minimum salary. So that means any rookie who comes in is going to make $220,000.
And for our listeners who don't know, currently, as it stands, the rookie contract is typically what, $75,000?
It's either 75 or 80, I forget.
So it's around that. It's below 100,000. So they are looking to push it over 200,000.
The league average would be over $460,000, and then the max salary for any one player would be $1.1 million. And it would be available to multiple players on a team. So it wouldn't just be just one player making over $1 million. The $1.1 million includes revenue share money and a base supermax contract. So the most you could pay. The revenue sharing is where we need to get into it a little bit more. Revenue sharing is at less than 15%, and the revenue projection has the percentage decreasing over the course of the CBA.
Which makes no sense.
Like,
what are we doing here?
So the Players Association said that it doesn't include appropriate player salary growth to match the league's business over time, meaning they're not getting enough revenue share. Under the old CBA, in order to receive revenue share, they had to meet certain targets, and even then the revenue share would have been about 9%. And let's just put this into perspective. NBA and NHL get 50% of the league's revenue, and the NFL gets 48%.
So half of it, and they're saying the women should get 15, and then it will decrease over time.
Yes.
Make it make sense, please.
It makes no sense. Also, as part of these CBA talks, the WNBA is proposing an earlier start date to training camps in the preseason, and also to cut team housing. The earlier start dates out of all of this is the part that's sending me the most, because I hate that because they are getting paid more, they are expected to work more.
Yeah.
It is not like we are going to pay you more because you are worth more. It is we will pay you more if you work more.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know why, but that is just driving me so insane that they even propose that. On top of that, it makes no sense. It's going to run into really close to the Final Four, and it's going to run into the WNBA draft. So just a crazy thing to offer. And I'm just like, again, I said this last week, until the leagues that house these players start treating them like professionals, how do we expect anyone else to?
Yeah.
The housing piece. When they announced it, I was like, okay, I can see that. If you're getting $220,000 as a rookie, I understand that the WNBA doesn't want to provide any more housing. However, we have to think about the nature of the WNBA and the amount that a player will join a team and then get waived 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
So if you're expected to find housing on your own, let's talk about New York as a market. There's so many pieces here. One, if you don't know how long you're going to be there, temporary housing is going to be very difficult to find.
Yep.
So are you asking these players who don't know if they're going to be there for 3 weeks or 3 years to sign a 1-year lease? To sign a 6-month lease? It does not make any financial sense. On top of that, in some of these bigger markets, $220,000 a year still isn't enough to get you an apartment in Brooklyn. It's
and
just
Golden
not.
State, Valkyries. Think
Exactly.
about these markets. Yeah.
So I wish they would take a little bit more thought in that. And again, it just feels so punitive. And I know that the goal is for there to be some compromise, but it just feels like sometimes they're just making them feel like shit.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider there. I think the point you make about the players who are getting traded all the time, what do you do in those situations? There still has to be an answer for the housing there.
And in the research that I did, I was like, can the teams provide housing and then the players pay them, right? So they can move into a furnished space, whether it's 3 weeks or whatever, and then pay out of their salary into it. I don't know if that's an option, but I'm like, maybe we can get there because, like I said, I do understand the WNBA's perspective. We're increasing the base salary, so maybe we don't have to provide housing, but I do think you need to have housing for the amount of movement that happens in the WNBA.
For sure.
So some reactions from players within the league. Nneka Ogwumike said, I don't feel like there's any cultivation of a culture of trust. She is the WNBPA president. She also added, we don't feel valued in these talks as they stand today. I feel like we've been heard, but not listened to. And I'm hoping that changes within this extension because what we want to do is get a good deal done. On top of that, this past week, USA basketball training camp has been happening, which has been very exciting. And so many players were there. Caitlin Clark was asked about it. Angel Reese, Cam Brink, they were all asked about this extension and what they expect to see. And all of them pretty much had similar things to say. And I'm like, okay, they're all getting the same PR. But that's good because they're showing up on a united front. Pretty much all of them said that they want to be playing. And I think that's a good message to share with others of like, we want to be playing. We're not just sitting here because we don't want to play. They all want to be playing. And also they want to strike a good deal. And it's going to take time to do that. So we'll see what happens.
I'm very curious. Do you think they're going to make it by this next January deadline?
I go back to our conversation with Ryan Rucco where he's like, if it doesn't happen over the holidays, that's fine. He was like, once we get into the March, April time period is when you start worrying. Once it actually gets to, it's time for preseason.
Yeah, I'm not convinced it's happening in January.
Feels like they still have some more things to iron out. Unless the WNBA comes back and is like, okay, we're going to do all of those things that you said. But I don't know. We'll keep you updated though.
We definitely will. We'll be following. Let's get into some updates this week, starting with Run Club. Every Thursday at 6 p.m., we meet at the 99ers Sports Bar here in Denver, and we run 3 miles, come back to the bar, have some drinks, and hang out. If you listen to our podcast and share a secret word with the bartenders each week after the run, you can receive 50% off your first draft. This week's secret word is holiday.
Yes, it is the holiday season, so it's holiday. We also need to take this time to ask you to please rate and subscribe to our podcast. After last week, after we said that you're on our betrayal list, we did get some more ratings. So I don't know, does shaming people work? Is that how we get more ratings and subscribers? But we do really love our listeners and we appreciate all your support. We do this podcast by ourselves and it really means a lot to us and to the growth of this podcast if you rate, subscribe, give us a positive review, and share with the people you love. Thank you to everyone who has rated the podcast so far. If you send us a screenshot of your 5-star rating, we will send you a Women's Sports Weekly sticker.
Yes, we have plenty to offer.
All right, let's get into our deep dive for today. What are we talking about?
We are talking about Trinity Rodman and
the deal that may go through
with the NWSL.
All right, let's get into this. So Trinity Rodman's contract with the Washington Spirit expires at the end of December. European clubs are offering her salaries a lot more than what she can make on any NWSL team under the league's current salary cap. Mm-hmm. So the NWSL is really big on parity. They say that word about 3 million times. And so to keep parity, they have a salary cap so that one team can't just go and pay someone while another team might not have the funds to do it.
Which I do get because in Europe, they don't necessarily have that. And there's some teams who do dominate and there's teams who will just crush other teams in the league. And that's not fun.
I know. I go back and forth on this because then I'm like, the team that's not doing well, get some money.
I'm not saying I want the players to be paid less so that there's parity. I'm just saying the lack of parity is a struggle. So I just can see that part being an argument for them. Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like, capitalism is best, baby, because I don't know. But if you want to be good, then I feel this is why I'm saying it. I feel like sometimes teams underpay because they can, because it's women, right? And they just treat them like a side thing. And it's like, no, show up with money and pay your players.
Yeah.
I see both sides. So the Washington Spirit attempted to offer Trinity Rodman a record deal of over $1 million annually. This deal was blocked by the NWSL for violating league rules. The NWSLPA, the Players Association, responded immediately with a grievance saying that the NWSL was violating the CBA. So let's get into this, just a little bit more of the background. Rodman's current deal is $1.1 million over 4 years. The NWSL's current 2025 salary cap is $3.5 million a team. The new offer from the Spirit is a 4-year, multi-million-dollar deal, so over $1 million a year. However, the way that they're doing this is interesting because they do have the salary cap. They're backloading the salary. Mm-hmm. So they're waiting for 2 years from now when a new media rights deal is going to be done. And they're expecting that the salary cap will increase. So in 2 years, the salary cap will increase because that's part of how it works right now. And then they're expecting this next media rights deal to be a lot more. So what they're saying to Trinity is stay with us for another 4 years. We can't pay you in these first 2 years, but we'll back pay you in the second 2.
That, I don't know how I would feel. That would be tough for me, right?
As the player to be like,
to not get paid right up front.
I know, like you want the money up front, but they sign a contract, so you have to get paid that.
No, I know. It's just, I don't know. I feel like that's not the point.
But it's their way of working around the salary cap to try to keep Trinity Rodman in the NWSL.
It's just some of the things that women put up with. I'm just like, it just shouldn't be this hard. It really should not be this hard to get paid more. It's painful.
You're right. And this happens in other sports as well. What the NWSL is doing is banking that they're going to be making more money in 2027 to be able to pay Trinity Rodman. They're taking a risk there by saying that. However, like I said, Major League Baseball does this.
Yes, but Major League Baseball players are making 700 times the amount that Trinity is even asking for. Like, I just can't wrap my head around how much these men get paid, and these women are just fighting for what feels like pennies.
Yes, it's true. So let's put this into perspective, and shout out to our intern Madeline for pulling some of this together. And she has really good overall sports knowledge, so she was able to pull from baseball from this, and we're just so thankful that we have her helping us do some of this research. So Shohei Ohtani for the LA Dodgers, he famously signed a really strange deal. So it was a 10-year, this is so laughable, $700 million contract.
Almost $1 billion at this point.
And 97% of the money was deferred until 2033.
That is insane.
He will make $2 million a season until 2033. And then starting in 2034, he will receive a lump sum of $68 million every year.
That's just silly.
And they do that because although the MLB doesn't have a salary cap, they do have a luxury tax. So they're deferring that luxury tax so that they don't have to pay luxury tax fees. And it is similar to what the NWSL is doing with Trinity Rodman, just with a lot less money.
Yeah, a lot less.
So the NWSL at first rejected the contract. They argue that the contract violated the spirit of its rules, which is a real weak argument, I find, and accused the Washington Spirit and Trinity Rodman of salary cap circumvention. So going around the salary cap. But that's exactly what the deal is meant to do. It's kind of
meant to keep one of their star players in their city on their team. It's like, can the NWSL start paying them more? It's just, it's frustrating.
And the NWSL has a problem here. They do. I'm in an effort for parity. They're running into this issue. I'm not exactly sure what the best route is, and it might be some trial and error here. So the NWSL couldn't say that it violated kind of anything in the CBA. They kind of just said it violated the spirit of the rules, which is an odd thing to say. The NWSL is also interesting because it operates as a single entity. It's not spread across the team. So the league approves all the player salaries and ensures that the teams comply with roster regulations. So that's a little bit different. And the league is saying that what the Washington Spirit are projecting in order to pay Trinity that much is not actually what the NWSL projects the growth to be. So the NWSL is saying the growth is going to be slower than what the Washington Spirit are saying. So they're saying that it's not going to be possible for you to pay her that much because we don't see it growing as fast as you do.
Interesting.
Again, underselling themselves, which is interesting. I also get it because you don't want to take too much of a risk, but you got to keep Trinity Rodman in the league. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
And part of the reason you want to keep someone like her in the league is she is a star, a growing star outside of soccer, and she brings attention to the league. If she goes to Europe, you miss out on that, and you don't want that.
Yeah. You don't want your best players not playing in the NWSL.
Yeah.
So the Players Association filed a grievance. They said that it was a violation of the CBA. In this grievance, the league had 14 days from December 3rd. So what is it now? They have like, by the time it comes out, which is the day we release, we don't know what is going to happen. And they're saying that the deal fully complies with the CBA, and it kind of does. It's just a way to get around it. The NWSL insists that they're not going to let Trinity Rodman go. And we have seen some movement in this past week. So this past week, the NWSL's Board of Governors approved a new roster mechanism to pay select star players above the current salary cap, calling them high impact players. This is what's known as a designated player rule, but it's not quite the designated player rule. So the MLS has this. Major League Soccer has a similar rule where the MLS is able to pay up to 3 players on their team more than the league salary cap. And this rule originated from when David Beckham came to the MLS, because the only way he was going to be able to come to the MLS is if they paid him a lot of money to do so. So they pretty much say this bucket of money will not affect your salary cap, and you can use it to get players. What the NWSL is proposing is capped. The NWSL is saying that you can spend $1 million over the salary cap in order to get select players. So in the MLS, it's like you can spend whatever you want. In the NWSL, they're saying $1 million. And the high impact player has to meet certain requirements in order to get the funds, which I thought was interesting. So some of the things they mentioned was like appearances on the NWSL's best 9 or U.S. women's national team minutes earned, which I think is just very interesting because what about international players? This deal is not done yet, though, because it needs NWSL PA, the Players Association, approval. We don't know what's happening with the grievance. This is all TBD.
I'm very curious to see how this works out.
And at what point does Trinity Rodman say, this is too confusing, no one's appreciating me here, and I'm leaving?
Yeah, I'm curious because, you know, she does have a boyfriend now who he travels all over the world.
Exactly.
So I guess it's not really tying her anywhere.
He's always traveling.
Yeah.
You could be Europe based and probably see a lot more tennis. And for me personally, the moment I start not feeling valued at my job is the moment I'm like, get me out of here. If you can't see what I bring to the table, then I'm going to leave and find somewhere else.
Yeah. Such a great point.
We shall see what happens. We will keep you all updated and follow our socials because if info comes out this week, we will be posting it on our socials.
Yes, for sure.
Let's get into what we're looking forward to this week. Danielle, what do you have for us?
So we are actually going to go to this game in person, which I am so excited about.
I just realized this. This is so funny.
So you were just randomly putting in games.
I just was looking at top 25 matchups and I saw the UConn Iowa one and I was like, UConn's going to freaking
Well, we're going to be there too.
I forgot. Yay, I'm so excited we're going to these.
Yeah. So there's a basketball tournament held at Barclays Center
in Brooklyn
this coming weekend in Brooklyn. We are headed back to the East Coast for the holidays and we are going to this tournament.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So one of the games we're going to be at, which I'm excited to see, is number 22 Louisville versus number 18 Tennessee this Saturday, December 20th at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox. Look for us in the stands.
Look for us. I already have my outfit planned.
You do?
I got an Ellie t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And since we're going to be at Barclays and I really hope Ellie's going to be there, I'm going to wear it.
There you go.
And then I have some leather pants that I'm hoping I can wear.
Love it.
It's going to be great.
What are you looking forward to outside of these games we'll be at?
So fun. That was such a fun surprise for me. The semifinals for NCAA Volleyball are on Thursday, December 18th. The first game will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, and the second game is scheduled for 30 minutes after, so probably around 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be Pittsburgh versus Texas A&M, and then Kentucky versus Wisconsin.
I am a little bummed that those games are going to be on the later end when we're in New Jersey,
I know,
but I guess
Eastern
I'll have to
time.
suck it up.
That Eastern Time kills us. That's it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch women's sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.